I never once expected that. After her mentor passed away, my wife would actually bring her childhood friend, Ta-Tu, right into our home to live with us. She told me, Tran Trach, a person has to show gratitude and pay it back. Teacher Chu was basically a real father to me when he was around. Ta-Tu and I grew up together, so what's wrong with me taking care of him a bit? Even my own 5-year-old daughter completely takes his side now. She says her dad only forces her to study, unlike Uncle Ta who actually plays with her. She doesn't want me as a dad, she wants him instead. Watching those two constantly crowding around Ta-Tu, I just feel like all my years of hard work have become a total joke. My heart turns completely cold, and I quietly accept an overseas job offer from a headhunter, just stepping aside to let them be together. But watch this crazy flip. Tham Than Mat actually drops to her knees right in front of me, eyes totally red, asking if I didn't promise to care for them forever. She absolutely refuses to get a divorce. Meanwhile, I am CEO Tham's husband, the so-called legendary guy everyone praises for giving up a seriously bright future just for the sake of his family. And yet, right here at today's incredibly important company success party, CEO Tham actually decides to bring Ta-Tu along as her official +1. He actually followed her here, standing by her side, looking so sincere, which makes everyone around them start whispering to keep their voices down. Word around the room is, Ta-Tu is the unforgettable first love deep inside CEO Tham's heart. The official husband can't beat the first love, so get ready for some good drama. Right at Tham Than Mat's own company success party, I'm just standing hidden in the corner, quietly listening to her young employees gossip without holding back a single thing. My heart feels totally dunked in ice water, freezing and completely numb. They really aren't wrong. I am the official husband, and yet I only found out about this massively important party today, straight from my little daughter's mouth. I pull an elegant little box out of my pocket. Inside is a high-end fountain pen I asked a friend to bring all the way from Germany. The pen body is actually engraved with Tham Than Mat's initials, SW. On the very day we registered our marriage, I gifted her that first fountain pen. She was so incredibly happy back then, even calling it her trusted warhorse riding straight toward ultimate success. She used that exact pen for so long that the nib completely wore down. I figured since she is a full CEO now, she really deserves a proper pen matching her high status. So I secretly prepared this special gift, fully planning to give her a massive, happy surprise today. But totally unexpectedly, at this huge celebration party, her partner for the night was never going to be me. The guy standing right beside her at this exact moment is Ta-Tu, the very same guy Tham Than Mat previously claimed was just her late mentor's son, who desperately needed some special extra care. He is wearing a perfectly tailored white suit, standing so elegantly right next to her, happily accepting everyone's warm congratulations right alongside her. He has this gentle, humble smile. Tham Than Mat doesn't pull away at all. She even tilts her head to softly listen to whatever he is saying to her. Her eyes hold a deep tenderness I haven't seen in a very long time. The bitter pain building inside me just cannot be held back anymore. Seeing this perfect couple in front of me is like a knife straight to the heart, making me completely numb with pain. I grip the gift box tightly and quietly back into the shadows. How did Tham Than Mat and I even end up like this? I clearly remember how genuinely we used to love each other. Back in those days, she was the festival goddess, totally surrounded by crowds, while I was just a huge nerd, completely obsessed with writing code. During a massive campus-wide programming contest, a hacker suddenly attacked the main server at a crucial moment, leaving absolutely everyone there completely helpless. I was the one who pushed through the pressure, staying in the lab for 3 straight days and nights, patching the vulnerability and catching the attacker. When the contest ended, Tham Than Mat actively approached me. First, with bright, sparkling eyes, she told me, Tran Trach, you look so incredibly cool when you write code. And now, I watch her, standing so confidently right in the center of the crowd. Yet the guy sharing her big glory is definitely not me. I take a deep breath, downing glass after glass of spicy liquor, just trying to numb this sharp heartache. Not knowing how long I drank, my stomach starts churning badly. I cover my mouth, stumbling all the way to the restroom. Right after throwing up, leaning on the freezing wall, I suddenly hear Tham Than Mat's voice outside the door, talking on her phone. Mom, please stop worrying. I will take really good care of Ta-Tu. Here's the part that really hurts. The voice on the other end says something that makes her lower her voice, sounding guilty, yet firm in a way I've never heard. She says, if things hadn't gotten messed up years ago, be the one beside him. The man acting as my husband should have always been him, definitely not Tran Trach. Turns out, the guy she wanted to marry was never me to begin with. Her words feel like a freezing hammer smashing right into my chest. No wonder after Professor Chu, her dear mentor, passed away, she used the excuse of caring for his son to bring Tata home. She even claimed the guest room was too dark just to force me into giving up the main master bedroom. Tatu and I actually go way back. During college, he was the art department star, completely attached to the hip with Tham Than Mat. It's not like I didn't have my suspicions when he moved in, but Tham Than Mat looked at me with such absolute heartbreak back then. Tran Trach, a person has to have a conscience. Back then, I was promoted to department head entirely because teacher Chu broke the rules to support me. Now he's gone. Tatu is completely alone with nowhere to go, so we have to care for him. Besides, you two already know each other. He is incredibly unstable right now, so please just try to comfort him for my sake. When she put it like that, if I still objected, I just looked completely cold and heartless. So, I quietly agreed to it. But ever since Titi stepped into the house, everything completely changed. He always keeps this gloomy look, acting devastated over losing his dad. Pale face, fragile eyes, the whole act. Yet somehow, his actual behavior? He walks around acting like he is the man of the house. He wears Turn-Turchi's limited edition silk robe, sits right in the middle of the living room playing Chopin, and actually claims he is just looking for some creative inspiration. Meanwhile, after a brutally intense day of remote work, our guy just wants to rest. But TT immediately clutches his chest, whining about being out of breath. He needs absolute quiet, shooting Turn-Turch this totally demanding look. The guy who actually needs rest ends up heading to the kitchen, cooking dinner for all four of them. Tham Than Mount constantly defends him. She says TT is a sensitive artist who just went through a major tragedy. She tells her husband to be tolerant and not hold grudges. But all of Turn-Turchi's sympathy and endless patience, it only makes TT push his luck even further, taking total advantage of the situation. He constantly shows off, sometimes accidentally, usually on purpose, all the special favors Tham Than Mount happily gives him, like the Blue Mountain coffee she grinds by hand just for him, or the rare sheet music she specially ordered. One time, Turn-Turch is hanging laundry out on the balcony. Suddenly, a white shirt definitely belonging to TT gets thrown right into his face. The scent of classic French cologne still lingers on it. He pulls the fabric down, coming face to face with that infuriatingly innocent look of his. TT just frowns, looking somehow apologetic but completely unbothered. He actually says, "Sorry bro, I'm not great with the washing machine, so could you wash this for me too? You are doing laundry anyway." His tone is so light, acting like serving him is just expected. Trembling with absolute anger, Turn-Turch throws the shirt right back. He snaps, "Don't cross the line. This is my house, not yours. Please figure out your actual place in this home." Hearing the noise, Tham Than Mount rushes over. Seeing this, she just frowns, pulling TT behind her defensively. She scolds her husband Turn-Turch. "What are you yelling about? It is literally just washing one single shirt. You are a grown man. Why are you being so petty?" Watching her eagerly protect TT like that, our guy honestly cannot believe his eyes. Before he can even argue back, his own daughter, Tham Nim, runs in. Totally bought off by TT's Legos and video games, she actually yells at her dad. "You are a bad person," she says. "Uncle T is not bullying you. You're the one who cannot stand him. You are so petty. I do not like you. I want mom to divorce you. I want Uncle T to be my dad." Those words slice right through him, leaving this endless, aching pain. Now watch closely. This is where he is totally done. He immediately messages his headhunter director Ving. "I accept that overseas technical director position you offered me before." The guy is instantly thrilled, replying, "That is fantastic. I told you this job is a perfect fit for you. $1 million annual salary, but they want you there fast. You need to arrive in 3 days. Get your things ready." After sending that reply, this indescribably bitter feeling completely washes over him. In the past, he willingly gave up a huge Silicon Valley opportunity just so Tham Than Mount could chase her career. He chose a remote job and actively shouldered almost all the household and parenting responsibilities. Back when she was competing for the CEO position, he personally pulled countless all-nighters building her presentations and complex data models. He was the one doing daily school drop-offs and helping with homework, making sure his wife had absolutely zero distractions. And yet, looking back at it now, every single sacrifice he made feels exactly like a pathetic joke. Fine then, if his wife and daughter both want tea, he will grant their wish. As he packs up his bags, he realizes there is barely anything in this house that even belongs to him anymore. The overseas company already set everything up. He literally just needs to grab his suitcase and move right in. Then Mount comes home, spots the suitcase by the door, and her expression sours. Traveling for the double A project again? Did you finally secure that angel investment round? He does not bother explaining, just calmly nods. Yeah, we got an investor. Her frown immediately deepens. She says TT studied art too, and lately he wants to build an online art trading platform. He really needs capital and tech support, so give him some of your shares. Just treat it as helping his startup, getting him past this rough patch faster. She says it so casually, as if his hard work and career are just convenient tools to pamper the precious first love living rent-free in her heart. And here is where the absolute limit is reached. All that buried anger finally explodes. He laughs coldly. Then Mount. What right do you have demanding I share my stock with him? Leaving aside that this project is my absolute life's work, tell me exactly what status are you using to demand help for him? If you truly want to repay your debts, then just hand your own CEO position over to him. I guarantee his suffering will end instantly. Her face completely darkens. What kind of nonsense are you saying? Suddenly, their daughter runs over again, crying and punching his legs. You are so mean. Uncle T is already so pitiful. Why are you bullying him and fighting him for things? I hate you. I want mom to divorce you. I want him to be my dad. She screams and cries, those tiny fists endlessly hammering against him. He looks down at the daughter he used to cherish like absolute gold. Seeing her spit out such cruel words over a total stranger makes his chest ache suffocatingly tight. TT just stands by the door, locking eyes with him. He curves his lips up, flashing this insanely smug, provocative smirk. A completely silent, arrogant flex. Our guy stops arguing. He just quietly stares at Then Mount, dropping 3 simple words. Let's get divorced. For a brief second, pure panic flashes across her eyes. Trach, what did you just say? I reply, totally calm. I want a divorce. I grab my luggage without looking back at Then Matt fuming right behind me, or my daughter crying my name. I just leave the place I once called home. Trach, what right do you have to ask for a divorce? Let me tell you, if you walk out that door today, do not even dream about coming back. My daughter and I do not need you anymore. Then Matt yells, her furious voice, and the slamming door slowly fading away behind me. I just close my eyes, sitting in the car taking me straight to the airport. The bright lights from thousands of houses outside my window slowly blur together. Goodbye, Then Matt, and goodbye to my 7 years of total foolishness. 1 day, 2 days, a whole week goes by without Then Matt calling. She has no idea I changed my SIM card and blocked her completely. Later that night, Then Matt comes home at 11. She isn't greeted by a warm dinner or a tidy living room, but a massive disaster. Little Niam's toys are tossed everywhere, while the table is covered in leftover takeout boxes from Tattoo and crumpled tissues. She frowns, a random spike of anger flaring up as she snaps, where is Trach? Is he not home yet? Tattoo just sits on the sofa, wearing headphones and enjoying a symphony. He gracefully pulls off one earpiece, totally ignoring her tone, and actually tries acting cute. Then Matt, you are back? Tran's phone is still turned off. Niam was super hungry, so I had to order some delivery. His dead phone confuses Then Matt briefly, but she quickly calms herself down. He must be busy with work, with her usual need for control. She assumes I'm just throwing a fit over our share division. Get a load of this delusion. She figures I'm just being petty and will definitely come crawling right back to her in a few days. Just ignore him, he will get over it soon. Her voice sounds super light, carrying this weird sense of blind confidence. She shoots me a WeChat text sounding totally bossy. Trach, stop being mad. That is enough. Grow up a little bit and come home early today. Niam still needs you to take care of her. She actually pictures me panicking over this text and rushing to find an excuse to back down. But the second she hits send, a cold red exclamation mark pops up on screen. Then Matt freezes, her pupils shrinking in shock. I actually blocked her. An arrogant woman like her has never been treated this way by me. Right then, her pure panic completely takes over the anger, and a massive wave of deep insecurity instantly swallows Then Matt whole. Mom, when is Dad coming back? Niam tugs her shirt, pouting with teary eyes. I do not want the gross food Uncle Ta ordered. I want Dad's homemade cola chicken wings. Her little girl sobbing just makes Then Matt panic even more. It feels like her perfectly organized life is spinning completely out of control. She quickly rushes into the study, instinct kicking in as she frantically searches for my important papers. That is when she finally realizes that all my clothes and shoes are gone from the closet. Every trace showing I ever lived in this house seems carefully wiped away by some invisible hand. Finally, down in the bottom drawer of the nightstand, Tham Than Mat spots a brown paper envelope. Inside is a printed divorce agreement. The official documents are folded up completely neat. The cover says to Tham Than Mat in dark black marker. Her hands immediately start shaking. These thin white papers splitting our assets suddenly weigh a ton. The husband voluntarily gives up all shared marital property. Full child custody of daughter Tham Nyam goes entirely to the wife. The signature right there is crisp and final. Holding my signed divorce paper, Tham Than Mat's head spins. The truth finally hits her. I'm not just sulking. I really let go, and truly do not need her anymore. Tham Than Mat completely loses it, calling me constantly. But all she hears is a cold, robotic voice saying, "The number you dialed does not exist." Messages, emails, every app she tries is basically a stone sinking into the ocean. Then the bathroom door clicks open. Tatu strolls out, wearing the exact bathrobe she once bought for me. A gift I couldn't even bring myself to wear once. He just showered, still completely steaming. He wraps his arms around Tham Than Mat from behind, leaning right by her ear to whisper, "Than Mat, it is super late. Forget about that boring guy. Get out." Tham Than Mat violently shoves him back, using all her might. Tatu is caught off guard, stumbling back and slamming into the wall, looking completely pathetic. "Tham Than Mat, are you crazy?" he yells, both furious and terrified. She has never spoken to him so harshly, let alone physically lashed out like this. But she does not care about him at all. Her eyes stay glued to her screen, staring at the message that my number does not exist. Her stare is totally hollow and messed up. When she looks back at Tatu, the old gentleness is gone, replaced by a freezing glare like a brewing storm. "Tell me exactly where Tran Trach went," she demands through gritted teeth, eyes totally red, voice raspy. That scary look startles Tatu, but his pride makes him put on a pathetic, wrongly accused face. TT snaps, "How should I know where he went? He walked out on his own. What's that got to do with me? You're seriously questioning me over a completely useless loser like him? Do I even matter to you anymore? Or what?" His harsh tone terrifies the little girl. She bursts into loud tears, instantly turning the whole house into absolute chaos. Tham Than Mat's head pounds. It feels like it might explode. She just stares at this man who does absolutely nothing but whine and complain. Looking at this ruined home she completely destroyed with her own hands. She just can't stop my face from flashing right into her mind. She remembers our very first meeting. Me in a plaid shirt, focused on my keyboard, eyes bright with ambition. She remembers our wedding night clearly. Me holding her tight, telling her with absolute certainty, "Go ahead and chase your wildest dreams. Because I'll be the one keeping this family grounded." All those little things she once took completely for granted. Things she even found annoying back then. Now flashing right before her eyes like a fast-forwarded movie, scene after vivid scene. Turns out, my love for her had seeped into every single corner of her life. Exactly like the air she breathed. But now, that air is entirely gone. Smack. Tham Than Mat literally slaps her own face hard. That crisp crack rings loudly through the chaotic house. And her tears pour down without any warning. She had personally torn down the exact same roof that always sheltered her. She pushed away the only man who always had her back. Ever since that specific day, Tham Than Mat turns into a completely different person. Her attitude toward TT flips completely. No more gentle care or patience. Now, there is absolutely nothing left but coldness and pure irritation. TT picks up on this fast. That creeping sense of danger makes him lose his usual smooth charm entirely. He starts trying to control Tham Than Mat way more than before. He's constantly questioning where she goes, aggressively meddling in her work and social life. And he even demands she hand over her entire salary just to support his pathetic art. She is done. Tham Than Mat has completely lost all her patience with his incredibly fake act. Their arguments pile up constantly, so she starts coming home later and later, sometimes even sleeping at the office. Meanwhile, TT doesn't know the first thing about running a home or raising a kid. Tham Nim just isn't used to his awful cooking. Sometimes it's way too greasy, other times it's totally bland. That day, the little girl pushes his spaghetti aside again, crying and begging for that special tomato milk dish I always used to make for her. He snaps. TT is already annoyed, and now he completely loses it. He screams at the kid and smashes the plate. Terrified, Thum Nim bursts into tears and calls her mom's smartwatch. "Mom, please come home quick. Uncle T is hitting me." For the very first time, she feels her life spiraling totally out of control. And you know who she's suddenly missing deep down? Yeah, it's actually me. Suppressing her rage, she rushes home to an absolute war zone. The kid cries breathlessly, while TT just mutters about her being too picky. Thum Then Mount comforts her daughter, gently carrying her away. Furious, TT shamelessly spits out, "I have the worst luck. If I didn't see you still had some use as a director, you really think I'd come back to you? Keep dreaming, honestly." That hits her like a bucket of ice water right to the face. The guy she treated as her pristine first love is now spitting out such pure, venomous trash. That once gentle boy, gone. He is now fully turned into someone utterly repulsive. He never actually loved her at all. He only ever loved that fancy title of Director Thum, along with the incredibly wealthy, comfortable lifestyle that she could so easily provide for him. Every bit of guilt and pity she ever felt for him instantly transforms into bone-deep disgust in that exact moment. Stone-faced and totally silent, she marches straight into the living room. She yanks his luggage out, stuffs all his garbage inside, and aggressively drags both him and the suitcase right out the front door. Thum Then Mount, are you completely insane? You dare treat me like this? TT screams, pounding on the door like a total madman. She ignores him completely. She locks it tight, leaving him standing totally alone in the pitch-black hallway. Looking at his own pathetic shadow, he finally understands what being ruthlessly tossed aside truly feels like. They are officially done for good. Kicked out, banned from the Thum house. TT can't even find a normal job, so he tries starting his own business, but with zero skills, absolutely no management ability, and just empty delusions of grandeur. His reputation in the startup world completely tanks in record time. Occasionally, Thum Then Mount catches their old investors loudly complaining about his utter incompetence all over social media, and every single time, she can't help but think of me. The guy, once fully recognized as the most promising engineer in the entire industry. Tight logic, flawless code. I poured my absolute heart into every project, and everyone clearly respected my high professional skills. But to take care of the family and support her career, I willingly gave up way better opportunities over and over again. An indescribable wave of pure regret and heavy emptiness suddenly washes over her. She starts wondering if her choice back then was just so incredibly stupid that it's totally beyond saving now. One day, while clearing out some old stuff, she stumbles upon a really dusty portable hard drive. The exact same one. We used it back in college. Now, pay close attention here. Hands shaking, she plugs it in. And what pops up absolutely floors her. It's the core documents for the massive project that won her that director position. She always firmly believed she had turned the tide all by herself. But turns out, the most complex core of that algorithm was actually written by me over several sleepless nights, just quietly dropped onto her computer. I even disguised the annotations to make it look like open source code. She stumbled upon herself, completely unaware that this exact algorithm was what made her proposal stand out so much. Winning over the famously strict Professor Chu and landing her a massive, career-changing promotion. A huge favor I never once mentioned or asked to take any credit for at all. That silent affection and unspoken sacrifice now hit Thum Then Mount like a burning slap right across the face, leaving her in so much pain she can hardly breathe. She absolutely hates herself for being so blind, deeply regretting her own foolish and selfish choices. From that moment on, Thum Then Mount basically loses her mind, trying every possible way to get in touch with me. Throwing away all her pride, she goes around begging every single one of my old friends and former colleagues, pleading like they are family, but absolutely nothing works. Whenever she tries calling, she just gets the same cold automated voice. The number you dialed does not exist. A massive wave of fear and panic starts, swallowing her whole. Then, a few days later, at kindergarten, Thum Nim gets into a fight over a toy and shoves a classmate, hurting their forehead. The teacher immediately calls the registered emergency contact, which happens to be TT, but he has already cut all ties with the Thum family, hanging up the second he hears the voice. The teacher struggles before finally reaching Thum Then Mount mid-meeting. Dropping all her work, she rushes over to the school to apologize to the parents and pay the medical bills before finally resolving the whole mess. Coming back home completely drained and exhausted, Thum Then Mount finds Thum Nim fast asleep on the sofa, clutching an old photo album tight against her chest. She gently carries her kid to bed, tucking her in carefully before picking up the album to look. It is the exact memory book I made for my daughter, covering everything from her birth to her 5th birthday. Right beside every single photo are meticulous little notes, all written in my familiar handwriting. First smile, first time rolling over, first time saying dad, first steps. Every single word and line overflows with the deep, heavy love and earnest hopes a father has for his little girl. Thumb Than Mount hugs the album tight, her throat completely choking up. All those old memories rush back, hitting her chest as hard as crashing waves. Heavy tears start falling, leaving wet trails down her completely pale face. Right in that moment, she makes a hard choice. No matter what it costs, she has to find me. This house cannot survive without me, and she and her daughter need me even more. 2 whole years pass. The double-A-rank interactive system I personally led, Prometheus, gets its official global launch, even grabbing the cover of the Asian edition of UI magazine. The news quickly spreads back home, sending massive shockwaves right through the tech and investment worlds. The guy they once wrote off as an outdated engineer for choosing family over career has now become the absolute most prominent Asian tech icon over in Silicon Valley. Now watch her reaction here. Thumb Than Mount sees the news that I am returning home to headline a major tech conference, and she completely lights up like a drowning woman, finally grabbing a lifeline. She immediately starts scheming. How exactly should she apologize? What words will make me forgive her? She actually believes that if she shows enough sincerity and lowers herself enough, I will definitely come back. After all, we shared 7 years of history and raised a kid together. Thumb Than Mount is completely convinced that I could never abandon my own flesh and blood. Little Thumb Nim has been through her own misery too, getting treated like trash by TT and passed between nannies, realizing nobody gives her that warm feeling quite like her dad. The kid finally understands I am the one who loves her most. She cries out, "Mom, I do not want Uncle T anymore, just want my dad. You have to bring him home." Thumb Than Mount actually thinks her own daughter's tears are the ultimate trump card to win me back. Right around the same time, TT gets dragged into court by the exact international tech company I work for. The charge? Stealing the Prometheus source code, specifically the exact sections I wrote, and they hit him with an absolute mountain of undeniable technical evidence. TT's reputation is totally destroyed. His company goes bankrupt, his assets get liquidated, and he catches a solid 3 years in prison for commercial fraud and stealing corporate secrets. Hearing about TT getting locked up, Thumb Than Mount lets out a huge sigh of relief. In her mind, the biggest roadblock between us is finally gone. She quietly calculates that every single one of her mistakes can just be pinned right onto TT. Later that sunny afternoon, the conference wraps up, and I step out of the building completely surrounded by assistants and high-level executives. Even from a distance, I spot that mother and daughter waiting by the fountain. Thumb Than Mount is wearing this simple white dress, with light makeup and perfectly styled hair, desperately trying to recreate that innocent look from when we first met. She is even holding white magnolias, the exact flowers I used to love. Right beside her, Thumb Nim quietly grips her mother's hand, looking incredibly cautious. I see them both clearly, but I do not even break my stride, walking past like they are total strangers. Seeing me about to walk right past, Thumb Than Mount quickly flashes this incredibly humble, almost desperate smile. "You are not ready for this next move." She rushes straight toward me, and right there in front of the stunned international directors and assistants, she literally drops to her knees. Company staff and business partners walking by all turn their heads, their eyes filled with a mix of wild curiosity and deep pity. The air completely freezes. In that exact second, she cries out, "Hubby." Thumb Than Mount throws her head back, and those tears she prepared way in advance just start pouring down. She sobs, begging me, "I know I was wrong. I really know now. I was terrible. I was completely blind to let TT trick me. For 2 years, I have not had a single day without regret. The pain of missing you is driving me insane." She cries out that she doesn't expect immediate forgiveness, just begging for a single chance to make things right. For little Thumb Nim, for their 7 whole years together, she desperately pleads for just one more opportunity to start completely over. She sobs and screams, completely pouring out every ounce of her shame right there on the floor in front of me. Thumb Nim gets pushed forward too, her tiny hands grabbing my expensive suit jacket. She sobs, saying she used to be a bad kid, but now she just wants her dad to come home, begging me to say yes. Those tearful eyes used to be my fatal weakness. If this were the past, I definitely would have softened and pulled them into a warm embrace, without a single second of hesitation. But now, watching the two of them perfectly act out this tear-jerker play, my heart stays totally dead and still. To be honest, I actually find the whole dramatic display pretty ridiculous. I say absolutely nothing, just watching them in quiet silence. That heavy stillness actually panics them than mount way more than any angry scolding ever could. I gently peel them Nim's hands off, leaning down, keeping my voice low enough for just us. I tell her that bad mistakes demand a price, and that rule applies to adults too. Then I take a deliberate step back, maintaining a very clear, professional distance from both of them. You see this? I stand tall, coldly staring down at the kneeling woman, going absolutely crazy from sheer despair. My assistant quickly reads the room, pulling a thick stack of paperwork from his briefcase and placing it directly into my hands. I take it and lightly drop the prepared divorce papers right in front of them thin mount, landing perfectly on the tear-soaked ground by her knees. I unconsciously glance down at the Patek Philippe watch on my wrist, a well-earned reward I bought for myself. Right after finishing the Prometheus project, that sapphire crystal flashes a cold, blinding light under the sun. I open my mouth, purposely addressing her with the fancy corporate title she used to love the most. General Manager them. Every single syllable drops with absolutely zero emotion, even carrying a faint hint of deep sarcasm in my tone. I tell her that besides this paper, we have nothing left to discuss. The divorce agreement is already signed. I pause for a brief second, letting my cold gaze sweep past them then Mount's pale, hopeless expression, before finally stopping on them Nim's tiny little face, completely twisted up in sheer fear. I have a brand new life now. As for her request, my answer is a solid no. I give a faint chuckle, not loud, but every word drops like cold, heavy steel. I ask if she knows the truth. 2 years ago, I actually thought I lost my whole world, but now I realize I just tossed out some trash. Even a dirty dumpster would reject a cheating woman, so I certainly have absolutely no use for her. Done talking, don't look back even a single time. I turn away under my staff's respectful stares, smoothly stepping right into the sleek black Maybach, perfectly parked and waiting up ahead. The heavy door shuts, completely sealing me off from the broken world left behind. Through the rearview mirror, I catch Thumpthin Mount trembling as she picks up the divorce papers. She reads the main clause. The man leaves completely empty-handed, and the woman gets full custody. She completely collapses to the ground, letting out an agonizing, desperate wail she's kept bottled up for 2 whole years. Now picture this beat. Nim watches her mother fall, stares at the departing car, and finally breaks down, crying out loud. I never turn my head back, just coldly ordering the driver to hit the airport. Outside, brilliant, gentle sunlight perfectly illuminates the open road stretching out ahead of us. I just know my new life, absolutely glorious and full of pride, is finally, truly, beginning right now. As for their misery and regret, that has absolutely nothing to do with me.